broadcast is brought to you live by Celcom 4G, the first, the fastest.
Wonderful welcome to the program. This is CLAR TV, Channel 5 News, Robert Hinz. In the headlines, Maryland County Representative, Plymouth-Southern District Representative Dr. Buffo Chima has called on lawmakers to be very serious in doing the job of the Liberian people for which they got elected. Royal Communications Incorporated reported Ziama Ziegler got beaten today at the Information Regular Press Briefing only because of question being asked about US $5 million in the fight against the Ebola fight. GT Bank Liberia donates an ambulance in the fight against the Ebola virus on President Ellen Johnson's 76th birth anniversary. Planned Parenthood Executive Director Madam Miata Keu says Ebola is unusual. What do we do with that? It's unusual. He's been honest with already. What are we doing to fight it? Central Bank Governor Mill Jones has donated to President Ellen Johnson, so of course, giving a birthday gift to the president. Well, she consented to that, and she agreed. On the international scene, United States of America, there in New Jersey, there's a serious situation ongoing after a doctor who left from the U.S. came to Africa. He's being quarantined. All of these are packaged still for us. We'll bring you the actual images. My name is Robert Hinz. My pleasure to welcome you to the news. Maryland County Plymouth-Southern District Representative Dr. Buffo Chima has called on his fellow colleagues to work in the confine, making sure that development goes on in the country as it relates to working for the Liberian people. Dr. Buffo Chima comes from Maryland County, where he says some of his colleagues at the legislature, the 53rd National Legislature, needs to be very serious as to move into the fight against the deadly Ebola virus or other issues across the country. This is how he called, then citing some biblical quotes. I don't know whether he gone biblical these days to read some quotes from the Bible, but this is Dr. Buffo Chima.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, to the issue. The issue here is that we have constituents. We have people. And we should understand the plight of our people, not because some of us are in privileged positions. The signal that we have gotten has compelled us to bring to this august body to discuss in this forum, which is a deliberative forum, to understand the psychology behind actions taken by some functionaries of government. It is stated in Psalm 41, verse 1, that blessed is he who has respect for the weak. The Lord delivers him in times of trouble. Psalm 41, verse 1. We are now dealing with our people.
Plymouth-Southern District Representative Dr. Buffo Chima III, cautioning on lawmakers to be very serious in the work of the Liberian people. Royal Communications Incorporated, particularly the King's 88.5 FM, reported Ziama Ziegler got beaten today at the Information Regular Press Briefing by orders of the Director of the Press and Propaganda Area of the Information Ministry, Abel Blackheed, who ordered him by question being asked about Ziama Ziegler relating to the US $5 million asked, what did the government of Liberia do in the fight against the Ebola virus? It can be recalled that the Liberian government said that initially 5 million was to be given in the fight against the deadly Ebola virus. That a question being posed by Zema Ziegler. He got beaten for that. This was how he spoke to Channel 5 News.
Well, it's totally to be to the way that the regular press I posed some questions to the director of the fire service with respect to the $5 million that were given to the security sector, when in fact whether this fire service received some money. But surprising for me, A.B. Black, who works at the Ministry of Information, said the question was irresponsible. He need important people to go at the Ministry of Information. So he did not really answer the question. But what they did was after the conference, I went outside and said, look, we're talking live on the radio, Mr. Black, he cannot cut me off. When he did, he started insulting me later on. He told one formula who usually talk about the Minister of Information that minister stole money from the boss phone and this, that, and the Minister Brown, called the security at the gate and they dragged me out of the place and he slapped me and lost my glasses.
Now, in this case, what does it pose to you looking at what unfolded?
It poses a threat to my organization because I'm from the King's Radio, and CLAR TV, so it poses some threat to my life. As far as I'm concerned.
Threat? You look at it a big threat?
It's a threat because if they drag me from all of that place at the Ministry of Information.
They drag you?
Yes, they drag me. Slap me and drag me.
What's your shares?
My shares was damaged by the order of one formula. He worked at the Ministry of Information. No, his formula. He worked at the Ministry of Information. Access Jackson office.
Alright. Now, looking at what unfolded, does it anyway suggest that you needed to either ask questions in favor of the president or the minister?
Look, for my own observation and for my own notion, I feel that we should be pro-government. My IC government questions are in front of the government. Instead of asking questions for the Liberian people that have to look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Zema Ziegler there explaining a deal at the Information Regular Press Briefing what he got flocked on today. I don't know how thing works. Are we operating in jungle justice? Liberia got founded in 1847. This is 2014, what you count years? 167 years, Liberia. He got flogged today for a question being asked. What did we do as a country with the likes of the $5 million in the fight against the Ebola virus? The GT Bank Liberia has donated an ambulance in keeping with the fight against the Ebola virus to President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf on her 76th birth anniversary. President Sirleaf, according to history, she was born on October 29. This was how the GT Bank Liberia head, Ernest C.B. Jones, donated to the government of Liberia this ambulance as it relates to the fight against the Ebola virus on President Sirleaf's birthday.
So we are therefore honored to present on behalf of the chairman of the board of directors of GT Bank, Chief Oprah Benson, the members of the board, the staff, and the management of GT Bank, one Nissan Urban Ambulance to Your Excellency as GT Bank's modest contribution towards the fight against Ebola. I'd like to present you the keys. The documents are here. We just took the vehicle from the garage. We didn't know whose name to put it in, so the manager will quickly make the transfer of title as soon as he's directed how to do it. GT Bank is hopeful that this modest contribution will add to the domestic and global contributions towards Liberia's fight against the Ebola. And we are very optimistic that Liberia will, within the reasonable time frame, kick Ebola out of this country. Permit me to take this opportunity again on behalf of the GT Bank family to wish you happy birthday and God's blessings of many more years of good health and success in your endeavor to transform this country. And thank you, Madam President.
GT Bank Liberia head Ernest C.B. Jones there doing the donation to President Sirleaf on her 76th birth anniversary. Well, President Sirleaf said though she was like celebrating on her anniversary of her birth, she said she welcomes such donation. Is almost like a kind of gift given to her. But more need to be done in the fight against the Ebola virus. She said we need to move forward. President Sirleaf, yes, she.
Joining Liberia, of which you're a part through your bank, in fighting this disease. I thank you for choosing the occasion and the day to be able to make this presentation, because you're coming at a time when I'm celebrating my natal day, and you've used the occasion to wish me happy birthday, for which I want to thank you and ask you to convey to your chairman and your board and all of the staff of GT Bank my appreciation. Your contribution in the form of contributors will make a major contribution, because this is one of the areas in which we are in short supply. As we would like to see ambulances all over the country to enable the health workers to be more efficient, more effective in their response. And so we will, should be in the name of the General Services Agency as the proper custodian for public assets. They then will handle it through the Ebola Operations Center as to where it gets assigned. And so let me say that we hope that we've made sufficient progress in this fight, thanks to the partnership we've received from our domestic entities, and more importantly, due to the resilience of the Liberian people who themselves.
Liberia's President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf there on her 76th birthday. What I know, you saw her smiling, right? She was celebrating her birthday. She accepted the gift from Ernest C.B. Jones, the head of GT Bank Liberia. Planned Parenthood Executive Director, Madam Miata Kewu, says the Ebola virus is unusual. Well, this has been said over and over though. But as we make sure we fight against the deadly Ebola virus, what is it we can do to move forward? Those are the situations she explained. Since the Ebola broke out in Liberia in March of this year, according to the World Health Organization, 2,500 persons have since died. This is October. Today marks the 30th of October. World Health Organization status or their report states since. And she said we need to do more against the fight of the Ebola virus. It's unusual. That's what she said.
The Ebola symptom is quite different from any other illness. You understand? So we tell them, you start feeling unusual than before. You have not had that kind of a feeling before. It's good to go and test yourself. Even though when people go, and most of the time we are hearing that they are rejected, but I think things are improving now, as we can see. So it's good to stay good. And
but do you think it's declining in our country? Do you think it's declining?
I want to believe so, because from July, August, September, the way the tension, to tell you the truth, myself, I had to close my clinic the very first 2 weeks when the whole thing started, because it was not easy. My staff were panicking, and at the time we were not prepared. As I told you, we didn't have any protective gear. It was just quite recently the region sent us some money to buy some protective gear for.
Madam Miata Kewu, former executive head of the Janet Ministry there, now the Planned Parenthood Executive Director, speaking and saying that the Ebola virus is unusual. The Central Bank of Liberia, the CBL, head Dr. Mill Jones has presented a gift to President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf on her birth anniversary. President Sirleaf now enjoys 76 years in her basket. Well, she controls the affair of Liberia, though. This was how he presented a gift to President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I saw there's a cheer, smiling in the window catching the many people say.
We are very pleased to be here and to join you on this happy occasion, although we have tried to make it very small given the situation in the country, but we could not let the day go by without, stopping by to say happy birthday and to show how much we appreciate you. So we came as a central bank. It is not often that you get them away from their desk, but they were happy. In fact, all day they had been behind the governor, when are we going? So I said, well, give us a little time, and before the day is over, we'll be going there to see the president. So they are all here, and very glad to be here today. We have brought you a small gift. It is in a small bag, but they say good things come in small packages. So we're pleased to present this to you to be used for whatever humanitarian cause you see fit. It is a small donation from the staff of the bank. So again, we want to say happy birthday, and we wish you many, many more.
Dr. Mill Jones' dad presenting a gift to President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf on her 76th birth anniversary. Well, according to President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, receiving the gift from Dr. Mill Jones, she said, not much need to be celebrated as we go through these difficult times of our history, particularly in the health sector. We've now been in trouble with the deadly Ebola virus. According to her, there's not much more celebration needs to be done.
Senior management group, what is it? Thank you, Governor, for the vote. Thank you for coming, all of you, to be able to express happy birthday to me. As you correctly said, I have said I have not wanted to do very much on this day because I want to make sure that we continue to understand the circumstances in which we find ourselves and remain committed to fighting this disease. And I don't want to give an impression that we're celebrating. There's nothing yet to celebrate, although we're very pleased with some of the positive signs that we now have as a result of the individual and collective effort of all Liberians who have contributed to this, and many of the institutions, yourself being one of them, that have made direct contribution to this fight, by reaching out to communities, by providing resources and the leadership to join hands with all Liberians has led us to a place where we can now feel a little bit secured. And I know the work that the Central Bank has done, along with the Ministry of Finance, to mobilize resources that will not only help us to fight this disease, but put us in a better position to start the process of economic recovery, which is very important to all of us.
President Ellen Johnson said that receiving a gift. Well, you saw her smiling, right? She's smiling because she's celebrating another birth anniversary. It's something to do, though. Let's go on the international scene. Do it for the local development on the international scene. In the United States of America, New Jersey, the state third, Dr. Chris Spencer has been quarantined only because he came from the Ebola-hit countries in Africa. He's been quarantined there in the United States. What happens? Can we follow that? Yes.
Ebola case here in New York. Late today, word of a new and mandatory quarantine now for any high-risk passenger flying through New York or New Jersey. Tonight, the CDC retracing Dr. Craig Spencer's steps. He He's in isolation now after going about his daily life through this city of 8.4 million. Spencer left West Africa on October 14th, landing in New York 1 week ago. The first symptom, fatigue, on Tuesday of this week. ABC's Lindsay Davis now with where he went here in New York, how he felt in these last 72 hours.
Tonight, decontamination teams arriving at Dr. Craig Spencer's New York apartment to cart away his possessions. City officials now tracing everyone he came into contact with since the moment he started feeling fatigued on Tuesday. We know he ate at a restaurant, the Meatball Shop, today closed with health inspectors on scene. He took a walk here on the High Line, a popular park winding through Lower Manhattan. He stopped for coffee and then went home. Then on Wednesday, an outing with friends.
It was at this station that he then boarded one of the busiest trains, the L train, bound for Brooklyn.
Destination, a bowling alley called The Gutter. Health inspectors there today.
We came here to see if there was any reason to be concerned, if there was any exposures. There aren't any.
Spencer and his friends called it quits early that night, around 8:30. He then took a car service over the river from Brooklyn back to his Manhattan apartment. Very next morning, Spencer rushed to the hospital after reporting a 100.3-degree fever. Tonight, he's in isolation. His fiancée and 2 friends in quarantine. New York's mayor urging the city not to worry.
There's no reason for New Yorkers to change their daily routine in any way.
And to prove it, the mayor himself riding the subway today.
On the streets of Brooklyn, residents are being handed this, the symptoms of Ebola, who's at risk and how you can get it. Meanwhile, here at Bellevue, Dr. Spencer is said to be in stable condition. David.
Lindsay, thank you. I want to get right to Dr. Richard Besser tonight. And Rich, we're all thinking about these doctors and nurses, the first responders who are now getting sick, helping us treat this. But in the meantime, on the flip side, a lot of people asking why this doctor didn't put himself in self-quarantine, even if he was feeling okay when he got back.
Yeah, I understand the question, but he was doing the right thing. Ebola you can't spread unless you have symptoms. As soon as he had a symptom, he notified them and he got isolated.
In the meantime, Rich, right to that map, the airports where you travel back to America from West Africa, and the big change tonight for 2 of those airports.
This is a big change. JFK and Newark Airport, if you come into those airports and you're high risk, meaning you took care of a patient with Ebola, 21-day mandatory quarantine. I worry that this may discourage some people from going over to help.
All right, new development tonight. Rich Besser, thank you. And one more note on this, an image tonight. Nurse Nina Pham, the first person to contract Ebola here at home, walking out of that hospital Ebola-free. In Dallas, her fellow nurses cheering her on, and Pham's first stop, the Oval Office. A hug from President Obama, and tonight she says she is grateful for everyone's prayers.
I believe in the power of prayer because I know so many people all over the world have been praying for me.
She also says she is looking forward to reuniting with her dog Bentley. And tonight, this image, the animal shelter worker in protective gear. Bentley not quite done with his quarantine, but looking well tonight.
What a report that of Craig Spencer being quarantined in the United States only because he came from Africa, who being hit by the Ebola virus. So out of that runs up to 21 days quarantine. But just to end CLAR TV, Channel 5 News, the recap of those stories that make up the headlines. Maryland County Representative Dr. Bob Chambers calls on lawmakers to be serious with the Liberian people job. Royal Communications Incorporated reporter Ziama Ziegler got beaten at the Information Regular Press briefing on Tuesday. GT Bank Liberia donates an ambulance in the fight against the deadly Ebola virus. Though, according to the report from the central government, Ebola virus is coming down, but they chose to give a gift to the Liberian government. The Planned Parenthood Liberia Executive Director, one-time deputy head at the General Ministry, Madam Miata Kewu, says Ebola is unusual. But that's been understood already. So I don't know what you said. What you said is being understood already. Central Bank of Liberia Governor Dr. Mill Jones presents gift to President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf on her birth anniversary, 76. She smiled like Window Cat. On the international scene, it's not easy in the United States of America. Serious debate racing from all over the board as it stands. In New Jersey, a doctor who left the West African soil, Dr. Chris Spencer, has been quarantined. We brought you the report. My name is Robert Hinn. Thanks to Victor Darbert. Thanks to the entire news team. Victor Darbert is the head of television here CLAR TV, Channel 5, of course, Alfred on the camera. We also have the whole food house, the presentation. Thanks for viewing us. My name is Robert Hinch. Join us on tomorrow for another splendid presentation on CLAR TV, Channel 5 News.
This broadcast is brought to you live by Celcom 4G, the first, the fastest,